Welcome to the Stock Market Scalper channel. Here is your host, Scalper 779.
Hello and welcome back, traders. I'm going to do something a little bit different here, and it's going to be easier for you and it's going to be easier for me. I'm going to break these videos up into little segments, setup number one, setup number two type of thing. Just so we don't confuse ourselves and I don't confuse myself either. So what I want to begin with is the spiders. And I'm just going to blow up this chart a bit. So here we got the pre-market action Sunday night, early Monday morning. And this is today's action, which is February 12th, 2024. And what I want to highlight is this trend line to this low right here. Whoops. No, sorry. Right there. And you would want to do it here and here because you can see price hitting here. And that's how you know it's the real deal. And if we zoom in, here's the candle at 9:15 that hit it. Okay. So this is the line that we want to pay attention to. And there's also, and as you can see, price came down and then bounced up, came back down, but didn't go lower than this and didn't go lower than the trend line. And look at that move that we had up. It's fantastic. There's another thing that I want to show you that coincides with this, which is the moving average. And so this is the simple moving average. Here's the trend line that we drew in, but I'm going to erase it so we can see this candle pierce the 100 moving average right up there. This shows you all the values. So the gray one is the 100 moving average, the simple moving average. So it pierces it by a little bit, but that line would be your second reason to want to get into that trade. Pre-market, if you want to do a pre-market. But also, we had an oversold situation here. Stochastics were low. Both, I have these set up at different time frames, or I should say values. And usually when both of these are in oversold positions or overbought positions, it's a pretty good time to look for a short or a buy or a long. But as you can see, both of these were oversold. And so not only do we have the trend line, moving average, and stochastics. That's three reasons. That's pretty good. That's good enough for me to go long. So hopefully you got some of that. So that was actually a few steps in there, but I call it setup number one. Let's take a look at setup number two. Setup number two, we're going to be focusing on the 20 moving average, but it's the weighted moving average. The three main ones are simple moving average, exponential moving average, and weighted. So this one is the weighted, and as you can see, since last week, and probably even if we go even further, but we're just interested in the last week here, price has been bouncing off the 20. Okay, see this blue line? That's a 20 weighted moving average, as you can see up here in the title, or the value title, I guess. So yeah, price comes down a little bit, bounces off. That's the 50. Okay, sticks around the 50 and the 20, and then takes off again, comes back down, hits the 20, comes back up. And then, so now we're into today's, let me just zoom in a bit. So this was Friday afternoon, and here's Monday morning. So Monday morning, and setup in number one, that was after hours with the moving average. I don't think I mentioned that. This one is moving averages for the regular hours. So there's a big difference. Okay, and it can get really confusing. Just like I just had to catch myself and And because I forgot to mention that the moving average in setup number 1 was the simple moving average of the 100 simple moving average from the 24-hour charts. Okay, so this is the regular hour charts, and you can see price pierced the moving average. So what was the low of this candle? Let's just see. 501.02, 102, and the moving average value was 109, 501.09. So it's not a big pierce, right? You can't use these averages for scalping levels. Okay, you want to use support and resistance and trend lines for that. But if it's in and around that area, this just gives you a second reason, a little bit more confidence to get into the trade. And then look what happens. Boom. Moving averages, you would kind of use it in the same way you'd use stochastics, let's say, or MACD or RSI. Anyway, it worked today, right? Look at that move. All right, so that was setup number 2. Let's take a look at setup number 3. Setup number 3, this one's going to be a doozy. This one is the one above all setups. So here we are looking at the spider's chart, obviously, but this highlighted one represents the 24-hour chart, okay? There's Friday. So we have to go all the way back to Friday, pre-market. And then this is, so at this high right here. And then this high right here is around 2:45 Friday afternoon. Now, I'm going to release a video on the E-mini futures, and it's going to be a similar setup, but the E-mini futures is more precise. And if you watch both videos, you can compare. I'm not going to compare them in this video, but I just want you to see what we're looking at here. So normally, that's when you first start the trend line on anything, you want to take the highest point, and then you can play around whether you want this lower value. Let's just zoom out there, or zoom in, I should say, that lower value, and then a higher, because you don't know, you really don't know. I usually want to do both, and then look, it creates an area where you can choose to, let's say, get in the middle, because it might not hit that top line, which it didn't in this example, but it for sure pierced this bottom trend line, right? So you can see what price action did. This is how you call tops. This is how you figure out. And we only had to go back 1 day from Friday. And that's the best time to actually find a trend line or some support, like a double top or something, to find an area to go short. Because these are new highs, right? And it didn't want to go, right? You have to, you got in here somewhere and you're going to hold it. You're not going to scalp it just for like a minute or two, but you want to do some day trading, hold it for an hour or so, or whatever. You got to say to yourself, okay, only if it breaks this high, or maybe even if it breaks this trend line, then I'm going to get out of my position, because I'm not going to get shaken out, because the market doesn't want you to be in a position when it makes good moves like this. Anyway, this was a fantastic setup right there, and just chart it on your own chart and study it. It's so fascinating. Anyway, that was setup number 3. Let's take a look at the last setup, number 4. Last but not least, we got setup number 4, and there's a few things we want to be talking in here because I don't want setup number 10. But to begin with, we have this takes a little practice, and you gotta figure out, some of the tricks to see where to get different levels. So we want to duplicate this trend line right here, okay? And sometimes, you could put it there, but I mean, this just comes with practice. After I didn't see this when this was happening, but after studying the chart, see, look, we just put it on that low right there, and price almost comes down to that. Now, would that be good enough if you figured this out? Wait, whoa. Let's see this. Like, you don't know how far the market can drop, right? Especially when we've just been keeping going up and up and up and up. Like, that would be an initial, and that's the easy one. So some advice is, you don't really want to take the easy bounce. Okay, if you're looking to catch a falling knife, you don't want to take the easy one. You want to duplicate that. That's a real trend line right there, and figure out, okay, where's another level I can put it. So that was another level, and if you put it there, you wouldn't have gotten killed too much, right? Let's just go through that. Let's duplicate that, and we put it there, right? And then see what happens. So even if we were here to go long for a bounce, it didn't go against us too badly. All right, but you never want to take the easy one here. Let's get rid of this one. And what if see, if you drew a trend line here, oh no, that's not really working out there. No. Anyway, just stuff for you. I just want to show you something, right? So this is a 24-hour chart with the post-market and pre-market. I think there's other names for it. Like, this is the cash chart, and I don't know what they call this, but anyway, 24-hour chart here, and you can see how it charts these lines. But if we put some support and resistance, here's one. So you can see price came down here and bounced up. That'd be a nice scalp. Now here's something. It's always a 3-cent difference. What's the high here? I shouldn't say always, but a lot of time. $501.65. What's the low here? $501.68. So it's 68 cents, and that's 65 cents. So it knows, the algorithm knows you're going to be sitting on 65 here. And so when you see a situation like this where price is coming down and you have a nice pivot point right there, and it's pretty obvious, right? The spiders usually don't go right to 65 or 64. It'll stay, because I guess. And you can look at the level too, if you see how many buyers are there in front of the 65. The algorithm will say, no, I'm not going to go down and eat that wall. I'm going to bounce off of it from 68. And it went up above the 502. And then came right through, sliced it like butter. Now here, this is another obvious one right there, right? And it came right through. So you have to make a judgment call. It's this one right there as well. You really have to make a judgment call. I mean, if you got this, let's say you got this one, well, now you know the trend is changing, and you caught the fallen knife once. What are the odds of catching it a second time, right? You really have to talk to yourself like that. Because unless you're a guru, you're going to get burnt. If you didn't get burnt the first time, you're going to get burnt and cut up the second time. But what's the high here? 521 cents, right? What's the low here? 524 cents. Okay, 21 cents, 24 cents. Do you think I'm making it up now? Do you see what I'm talking about? Let's get this. This stuff is ruining the moment here for me. So these levels work, right? And you got to keep aware of that 3 cent. This is 524 cents low. Here's this pivot high right here, 521, a 3 cent difference. It did the same thing here that it did here. Okay, if you tried to do this pivot and this pivot, yeah, you would have gotten burnt, most likely. you know, you can go on a smaller time frame, but I don't think it would have worked. I don't think it worked. And do we have any support and resistance I wanted to show you here? No. Pre-market? No. So that's it. All right, guys. I hope you had a great day trading, and I hope you have made some money. We're going to do a video on the ES, and I'll see you in that one. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video.